Lieutenant Emma Blackwood stood at parade rest before the Joint Chiefs, her spine straight as steel. Through the Pentagon's reinforced windows, she could see the massive alien vessel hovering over Washington, D.C., its crystalline surface refracting sunlight into rainbow patterns across the city's monuments. "Lieutenant, you understand the gravity of this assignment?" General Morrison's voice carried the weight of decades of command. "Yes, sir. As Earth's liaison to the Luminary delegation, I'll be our primary diplomatic contact. This goes beyond standard diplomatic protocol." Morrison's weathered face tightened. "We chose you because of your unique qualities." Emma knew what he meant. During the initial screening of potential liaisons, she'd been the only candidate who noticed the subtle wrongness in the alien's presence. While others came away from meetings with Ambassador Nixis expressing nothing but awe and agreement, Emma felt the ghostly pressure against her thoughts, and rejected it. "The Luminary claim to seek peaceful cultural exchange," Morrison continued, "but we need to know their true intentions. Your psychological profile shows exceptional mental resilience. Use it." "Understood, sir." Emma's hand unconsciously touched the silver pendant at her throat, her grandmother's final gift, a family heirloom that seemed to hum with an inner warmth whenever the aliens were near. The meeting with Ambassador Nixis was scheduled for 1,400 hours in the newly established Diplomatic Exchange Center. As Emma approached the modernist glass structure, she observed the honor guard's glazed expressions. Even the most hardened veterans seemed softened around the edges, their usual sharp alertness replaced by dreamy compliance. The ambassador waited in the central chamber, her crystalline exoskeleton catching the light like living diamond. Unlike the initial contact videos, Emma now saw the predatory grace in how the alien moved, the calculating intelligence behind those multifaceted eyes. "Lieutenant Blackwood." Nixis's voice chimed like wine through crystal. "Your species continues to fascinate us. Such potential, waiting to be properly directed." Emma felt the familiar pressure against her thoughts, a honeyed whisper promising peace, unity, and advancement beyond humanity's wildest dreams. She let her training take over, imagining her mind as a mirror, reflecting the influence away while appearing to accept it. "We're honored by your interest, Ambassador." Emma maintained perfect diplomatic courtesy while her mind raced, cataloging every subtle reaction. "Earth's governments are eager to begin cultural exchange programs. Yes, your leaders have been most receptive." Was there smugness in those alien harmonics? "We've already begun implementing preliminary integration protocols. Your military commands have agreed to joint defense initiatives." Warning bells rang in Emma's mind. She hadn't heard of any such agreements, and her clearance level meant she should have. "That's wonderful news, Ambassador. I'd be very interested in reviewing those protocols." "Of course." Nixis gestured with an crystalline appendage, and a holographic display materialized between them. "Though you'll find everything is perfectly in order. Just as it should be." The pressure against Emma's thoughts intensified, and she saw the trap. The documents would appear flawless, because viewers would be compelled to perceive them that way. She pretended to study them while actually watching Nixis's subtle movements, the way the alien's crystalline structure pulsed with patterns that seemed to bypass her eyes and speak directly to her brain. "These appear very comprehensive," Emma said carefully. "I'll need time to properly analyze the technical details." "Take all the time you need." Nixis's tone held absolute confidence. "Though I'm sure you'll find everything satisfactory." That evening, Emma made 2 secure calls. The first was to her official superior, reporting that initial contact proceedings were going smoothly. The second, made from a burner phone while walking through Rock Creek Park, went to a private number. "Dr. Reed? This is Lightning Rod. We have a serious problem." Marcus Reed's voice was tense but controlled. "How bad?" "They're already in deep. Military command, probably government too. Some kind of psychic influence, but it's subtle. Most people don't even realize they're being affected. Damn. She heard typing in the background. The labs picked up weird quantum field fluctuations around their ships. Could be related. Can you get close enough for readings? I'm their official liaison now. I can get as close as we need. Emma paused, watching a couple walk past with the same slightly vacant expression she'd seen all day. But we need to move fast. They're implementing some kind of integration protocols. I think this is just phase 1 of a larger plan. Agreed. My team set up a secure lab in the old Ridgewood bunker. Come by tonight, use the south entrance. And Lieutenant, be careful. If they realize you can resist them. I know. Emma touched her grandmother's pendant again, drawing strength from its familiar warmth. But someone has to stay clear-headed enough to fight back. See you tonight. Walking home, Emma observed her fellow DC residents with growing concern. Shop owners were plastering their windows with welcome signs for their luminary friends. News channels ran endless positive coverage of the alien arrival. Even the usual political protesters had switched to messages of unified acceptance. In her apartment, Emma pulled out her grandmother's old journal, the pages filled with strange symbols and references to the old ways and mental shielding. She'd always assumed they were just stories, mystical ramblings from a woman who'd spent too much time alone in the mountains. Now she wondered if her grandmother had known something after all. A soft chime from her official comm unit interrupted her reading. A message from Nixus requested her presence at an emergency session of the UN Security Council tomorrow morning. The fate of human independence might depend on her ability to maintain her cover while gathering intelligence. Emma took a deep breath, centering herself. Stay strong, she whispered her grandmother's favorite phrase. The mind is our final fortress. She gathered her equipment for the meeting with Dr. Reed, knowing that somewhere in the intersection of science and hereditary wisdom, humanity would find its defense against this insidious invasion. The alien ship still dominated the skyline, its crystalline surface now glowing softly in the gathering dusk. But Emma allowed herself a small smile, remembering another of her grandmother's sayings. Light casts the darkest shadows, child. That's where the truth hides. The truth about the luminary was hidden in plain sight, wrapped in beauty and promises of peace. But Emma Blackwood was ready to step into those shadows, to protect humanity's most precious gift, the freedom to choose its own path among the stars. As night fell over Washington, she headed toward her meeting with Dr. Reed, her mind already working on ways to expand humanity's resistance. The real war for Earth's future was just beginning, and it would be fought not with weapons, but with the strength of the human will. The aliens had made one crucial mistake. They'd assumed humans were like all the other species they'd encountered, easily swayed, readily controlled. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in its technology or its armies, but in its stubborn, unrelenting determination to remain free. Emma touched her pendant one last time before starting her car. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight she had work to do. The fate of human independence might rest on her shoulders, but she wasn't alone. Somewhere out there, others were surely fighting their own battles against the alien influence. The human mind was humanity's final fortress, and Emma Blackwood intended to make sure it remained unbreached. The Ridgewood bunker's fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows across Dr. Marcus Reed's improvised laboratory. Emma studied the quantum field readings displayed on the array of monitors, each showing different aspects of the luminary's psychic emissions. It's like nothing we've seen before, Marcus said, adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses. The field affects neural patterns directly, creating a sort of consensual hallucination. People literally can't perceive anything that contradicts the luminary's suggested reality. Emma touched her pendant, which now sat in a scanner. And you're sure this is helping block their influence? The metal's composition is fascinating. Marcus pointed to a spectrographic analysis. It contains trace elements not found on Earth. Your grandmother might have had contact with something years ago. Their discussion was interrupted by an urgent alert. Emma's secure phone displayed a message from her Pentagon contact: UN Security Council approved total integration. Military chain of command transferring to Luminary oversight. Effective immediately. It's happening faster than we expected. Emma's jaw tightened. How close are we to developing a defense? Marcus gestured to a prototype device on his workbench. The pendant's unique properties gave us a starting point. We can generate a similar field, but powering it is the problem. Creating a shield strong enough to protect even one person requires massive energy. Emma picked up the prototype, remembering the morning Security Council meeting. She'd watched in carefully concealed horror as the world's most powerful leaders unanimously approved their own species' surrender. Only the Chinese representative had hesitated momentarily, his eyes briefly clearing before the Luminary observer adjusted something in her crystalline structure. We don't need to shield everyone at once, Emma said slowly. We just need to protect key people long enough for them to realize what's happening. Marcus nodded, understanding dawning. A cascading awakening. If we can break the influence on enough critical individuals. Their planning session stretched into the night. Neither noticed the shadows lengthening outside the bunker's reinforced walls, where Luminary observation drones silently patrolled Washington's darkened streets. The next week tested Emma's acting abilities to their limit. By day, she attended integration planning sessions, pretending to share in the growing human Luminary harmony. She memorized patrol patterns, security protocols, and most importantly, the subtle variations in the aliens' psychic broadcast frequencies. At night, she worked with Marcus and his growing team of unaffected scientists and military personnel. They discovered that roughly 2% of humans showed natural resistance to Luminary influence. The challenge was finding them without exposing themselves. Lieutenant Blackwood. Ambassador Nixus's crystalline form shimmered as she entered the liaison office. You've been incredibly helpful with the integration process. Thank you, Ambassador. Emma kept her tone pleasantly neutral. Everyone is so excited about the advancements you're sharing. Indeed. Nixus moved closer, her crystalline structure pulsing with complex patterns. Though I've noticed some humans seem less receptive than others. Perhaps you've observed this? Emma felt the psychic pressure increase dramatically. She maintained her mental shields while showing appropriate concern. Really? I haven't noticed any serious resistance. There are always some who take longer to adjust to change. Quite true. Nixus's multifaceted eyes studied her intently. Change can be difficult, but inevitable. Like the tide washing away footprints on a beach. The threat was clear. Emma forced herself to smile. A beautiful metaphor, Ambassador. Will you be attending tomorrow's military command restructuring ceremony? Of course. It's a historic moment in human development. Nixus paused at the door. One best witnessed with complete clarity. As soon as the ambassador left, Emma sent an encrypted message to Marcus: they're suspicious. Accelerate timeline. The response came immediately: prototype field generator ready. Limited range but functional. Targeting military ceremony. Emma stared at her reflection in the office window, the alien ship looming behind her in the sky. Tomorrow would either mark humanity's first step toward freedom or expose the resistance completely. Years of military training helped her compartmentalize the fear, focus on the mission. She spent the evening memorizing the ceremony's security layout. The Luminary had insisted on holding it in the Pentagon's central courtyard, supposedly for symbolic reasons, but Emma suspected they wanted their ships directly overhead to maintain maximum psychic control. At 0300 hours, she met Marcus and his team in the bunker for final preparations. The field generator had been disguised as standard audiovisual equipment, the kind used in any military ceremony. Once we activate it, we'll have maybe 30 seconds before their systems detect the interference, Marcus explained. The field will only cover about 50 feet, so timing and placement are crucial. The Joint Chiefs will be seated here. Emma pointed to the courtyard diagram. If we can break the influence on them first, their natural authority might help others resist when the Luminari try to reassert control. And if it doesn't work? Emma checked her sidearm, more from habit than any belief it would help against the aliens. Then we'll probably all be enjoying some very thorough Luminari rehabilitation. Dawn broke over Washington with picture-perfect clarity. Emma dressed in her formal uniform, pinning on the commendation the Luminari had given her for exceptional service to integration. Her grandmother's pendant hung beneath her shirt, its warmth seeming to pulse in time with her heartbeat. The Pentagon courtyard filled with military personnel and civilian observers, all wearing the slightly dreamy expression that had become the new normal. Emma took her position near the stage, nodding to Marcus's team disguised as audio technicians. Ambassador Nixis arrived with her entourage, their crystalline forms casting rainbow refractions across the assembled crowd. As she began her speech about unity and progress, Emma felt the psychic pressure reach new intensities. "Let us welcome your leaders into the greater harmony," Nixis announced. "A harmony that will ensure peace throughout the galaxy." Emma's hand tightened on the remote trigger in her pocket. The Joint Chiefs approached the stage, ready to sign away Earth's independence. She watched General Morrison's vacant smile, remembering his fierce determination during their first meeting about the Luminari. Now, she whispered into her concealed mic. The field generator hummed to life, its frequency calibrated to match and amplify her pendant's protective properties. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then General Morrison stumbled, blinking rapidly. Other military leaders stopped mid-step, confusion replacing their serene expressions. Ambassador Nixis's crystalline form flashed with alarming patterns. "Security breach." The alien's harmonious voice turned discordant. "The humans are." Morrison's command voice cut through the chaos, "Pentagon security. These aliens have compromised our minds. Protect the chain of command." Emma watched the cascade effect as more people awakened, their natural authority helping others break free of Luminari control. Base security forces snapped out of their daze, training overriding the alien influence. As Nixis began to broadcast an overwhelming psychic assault, Emma smiled grimly and activated the second phase of their plan. The pendant technology, refined and amplified, created a feedback loop that turned the aliens' own power against them. The battle for human independence was far from over. But as she watched the Luminari representatives retreat in confusion, their psychic control shattered, Emma knew humanity had taken its first real step toward freedom. The human mind truly was their final fortress. And it would not fall so easily again. 48 hours after the Pentagon incident, Emma and Marcus coordinated operations from a mobile command center disguised as a TV news van. The Luminari had withdrawn to their ships, but their psychic influence still held most of the world's population in thrall. "Moscow Online," Emma reported, adjusting her headset. On the monitors, a Russian colonel who'd shown natural resistance connected with their growing network. Colonel Volkov's team secured their command bunker. "Beijing's fighting back too." Marcus pointed to satellite feeds showing unusual activity around Chinese military installations. Their ancestral meditation techniques seemed to provide some natural defense. The Luminari response had been swift and devastating. Global media portrayed the Pentagon incident as a terrorist attack by anti-integration extremists. World leaders denounced the resistance. But the truth was spreading through unexpected channels. "Ma'am." A young technician rushed in. "You need to see this." The monitor showed social media exploding with posts about waking up. Street musicians playing specific frequencies that disrupted alien control. Underground radio stations broadcasting the truth between bursts of protective static. They're adapting, Emma realized. Human creativity finding ways around the control. A alert flashed, Ambassador Nixus requesting worldwide broadcast time. Every screen showed her crystalline form, now bristling with aggressive geometries. People of Earth, the alien's voice held new harmonics of command. Dissident elements threaten our perfect unity. For your protection, we will increase integration protocols. Resist all negative thoughts about. The transmission cut off. Marcus's hands flew across his keyboard. Multiple contacts. Resistance cells activating worldwide. Emma watched as decades of human preparation for alien invasion transformed into something the Luminari hadn't expected. Not military response, but adaptability. Creativity. The human drive to remain free expressing itself in thousands of unique ways. In India, holy men discovered their mantras could disrupt alien influence. African drummers found rhythms that cleared minds. In Japan, martial arts masters taught mental techniques that granted immunity. They never understood us, Emma told her growing network of commanders. They saw our divisions as weakness. But humanity's greatest strength is our diversity. The Luminari attempted to reassert control through increased psychic broadcast power. But humans had spent millennia developing art, music, meditation, and other techniques that affected consciousness. Now those cultural traditions became weapons. Marcus's team worked around the clock, combining the pendant's properties with broadcasting technology. Every resistance cell developed its own methods. Some used modified white noise. Others employed fractal patterns that disrupted alien signals. We're approaching critical mass, Marcus reported. Their control is fracturing. Emma coordinated with military commands worldwide as more leaders broke free. The Luminari's perfect invasion was unraveling in ways their hybrid technological psychic systems couldn't predict or counter. A transmission from Ambassador Nixus proved they were desperate, Lieutenant Blackwood. You've started something you don't understand. Our control is necessary. Humans are too chaotic. Too individual. Submit now, or we will be forced to take more direct action. We understand perfectly, Emma replied. You want to make us just another harmonic in your galactic symphony. But humanity doesn't sing in unison. We create in chaos. We find strength in discord. And we will never submit. The alien ships began charging weapons. But Earth's military forces were already adapting, combining traditional tactics with new defenses against psychic control. Missile crews wore protective headphones playing counter-frequencies. Fighter pilots flew with minds cleared by meditation techniques. They're targeting the resistance broadcast centers, Marcus warned. Let them. Emma smiled grimly. Humanity's had enough of their harmony. The Luminari attack struck with crystalline precision. But instead of cowering, populations worldwide erupted in creative defiance. Street musicians played independent songs. Artists created protective mandalas. Every culture found its own way to fight back. In the command center, Emma received reports from around the globe. Buddhist monasteries offering sanctuary and mental training. Indigenous shamans teaching psychic defense. University professors combining quantum theory with ancient wisdom. Ma'am. A technician called out. The Luminari ships, they're pulling back. On the monitors, the crystalline vessels retreated to higher orbits. Their psychic broadcasts continued but felt weaker, disrupted by humanity's cacophony of resistance. They don't understand, Marcus said wonderingly. Their system requires uniformity. But trying to control humans is like trying to conduct an orchestra where every musician is playing a different song. And that's what makes us strong. Emma opened a channel to all resistance cells. Keep broadcasting. Keep creating. Keep thinking freely. We're not just fighting their control, we're showing them why it will never work. The next 24 hours transformed the invasion. As more humans awoke, they developed new ways to stay free. Street art disrupted alien influence. Musicians collaborated on protective symphonies. The internet filled with techniques for mental defense. In the command center, Emma and Marcus watched their sensors track the Luminari retreat. The aliens hadn't expected this kind of resistance, not military might, but the uncontrollable creative spirit that made humanity unique. They'll be back, Marcus warned. Probably with conventional weapons next time. Let them come. Emma touched her grandmother's pendant, remembering her words about light and shadows. We've shown them that humanity's strength isn't in uniformity. It's in our beautiful chaos. The Luminari ships hung in high orbit, their crystalline forms catching sunlight. But they no longer seemed so magnificent. Just another force that had underestimated humanity's greatest weapon, the infinite variety of the human spirit. As dawn broke over Washington, Emma looked at the tired but determined faces of her team. The real war was just beginning. But humanity had remembered its strength. Not in conquest or control, but in creativity, diversity, and the unwavering desire to remain free. The underground lab hummed with energy as Marcus's team activated the global psychic defense grid. Based on Emma's grandmother's pendant, amplified by modern technology and powered by the collective consciousness of awakened humanity, the system would protect Earth's population from Luminari control. Grid nodes active in 47 countries, Marcus announced, his fingers dancing across holographic displays. The human brain's natural quantum fields are amplifying the effect beyond our projections. Emma studied the global map showing coverage zones in pulsing blue. The Luminari won't expect this. They think we're primitive because we don't share their hive mind technology. Outside, the crystalline ships had returned in force, their formations blocking out the stars. But humanity was ready. 3 months of resistance had transformed Earth's defenses, combining military hardware with unprecedented psychological warfare capabilities. Multiple launches detected, a sensor operator called out. They're deploying ground forces. The Luminari ground assault began with crystalline warriors, each a fragment of their ship's consciousness. They expected to find confused, disorganized humans. Instead, they met unified resistance from minds that remained stubbornly individual yet worked in perfect concert. Beijing Defense Command reports successful repulsion, Emma relayed. Their martial artists are actually redirecting the alien psychic energy back at them. Marcus adjusted the grid's frequency. Similar reports from New Delhi. They're combining yoga techniques with our technology. The Luminari literally can't comprehend how we're doing this. The alien warriors faltered, their crystalline forms clouding with confusion. They'd never encountered a species that gained strength from diversity rather than uniformity. Every human culture added its own harmonics to the defense grid, creating an impenetrable psychic shield. Ambassador Nixus's transmission cut through all frequencies. This resistance is futile. Your species cannot survive alone in the galaxy. Accept our guidance or face extinction. Emma's response was broadcast worldwide, we're not alone. We have each other. Every human mind is unique, yet we choose to work together. That's real harmony, not forced conformity. The defense grid's power increased as more humans contributed their mental energy. Artists visualized protective barriers. Musicians added strengthening rhythms. Mathematicians calculated optimization patterns. Each individual contribution made the whole stronger. They're pulling back, Marcus reported. Orbital platforms showing massive energy buildup. They're going to try overwhelming force. The Luminari attack came like crystalline lightning, their ships focusing psychic energy into a planet-wide assault. But humanity's shield held, strengthened by billions of minds working together while remaining uniquely themselves. In the lab, Emma watched as the aliens' power broke against human determination. Send the signal. All resistance cells, execute Operation Prism. Around the world, humans deployed the technology they'd refined through months of fighting. Modified versions of the Luminaries' own psychic weapons, rebuilt to work with human consciousness rather than against it. The crystalline ships shuddered as their control systems faced something they'd never imagined: organized chaos, unified diversity. Their fleets in disarray, Marcus said. The human mind, we're not just resisting them anymore. We're stronger than they are. Emma opened a channel to Ambassador Nixus. You tried to force your harmony on us. But real harmony comes from choice. From different voices choosing to work together. That's humanity's gift to the galaxy. The Luminary ships retreated, their perfect formations shattered by the realization that they'd fundamentally misunderstood human nature. They'd seen our divisions as weakness, never realizing that diversity was our greatest strength. In the lab, Emma and Marcus watched the defense grid's power levels stabilize. Humanity had not just survived first contact, they'd evolved. The technology born from her grandmother's pendant had merged with human creativity and determination to create something entirely new. The grid's self-sustaining now, Marcus reported. Powered by human consciousness itself. We're detecting similar fields forming naturally as people learn to use these abilities. Emma smiled, touching her pendant. We always had this potential. We just needed the right push to discover it. The Luminary ships hung in high orbit, their crystalline beauty diminished by defeat. They'd come to uplift humanity by forcing them into conformity. Instead, they'd awakened humanity's true power, the strength that comes from billions of minds choosing to work together while remaining uniquely themselves. As dawn broke over the lab, Emma addressed the global resistance network. The immediate threat is contained. But our work is just beginning. We've proven that humanity's greatest strength is our diversity. Now we have to show the galaxy what we can achieve with it. The defense grid hummed with the power of human potential unleashed. In defeating the Luminari, humanity had discovered its true place in the cosmos, not as another uniform chorus in the galactic symphony, but as something far more precious, composers of their own destiny. The Luminari flagship descended through Earth's atmosphere, its crystalline surface no longer projecting dominance but instead reflecting humanity's achievement. Emma stood with Marcus and the Joint Military Command as Ambassador Nixus approached the negotiating table, her form dimmed with acceptance. Your species has proven, unprecedented, Nixus's harmonics carried newfound respect. We've encountered thousands of civilizations, but none that turned our own weapons into a shield. We didn't just create a shield, Emma replied. We evolved. Your attempt to control us forced humanity to discover abilities we didn't know we had. The defense grid now extended beyond Earth's atmosphere, powered by the collective consciousness of billions. But unlike the Luminaries' forced harmony, this was a network of free minds choosing to work together while maintaining their individuality. Our Council of Elders requests an explanation, Nixus said. How did you achieve this transformation? Marcus stepped forward with technical data. Human consciousness naturally resists uniformity. When you tried to force compliance, you created a pressure that awakened our latent potential. The monitors showed humanity's awakening spreading beyond the defense grid. People worldwide reported enhanced mental abilities, from basic telepathy to complex energy manipulation. Each culture expressed these powers differently, creating a tapestry of human potential. Impossible, Nixus's crystalline form flickered. Such abilities require uniform consciousness. Structure. Control. That's where you're wrong. Emma activated a holographic display showing the defense grid's energy patterns. Look at the harmonics. Every mind contributes uniquely. The power comes from billions of individual songs creating something greater than a single enforced melody. The Luminari delegation studied the data with their multifaceted eyes. Their rigid crystalline forms seemed to lose some of their sharp edges as understanding dawned. "We've spent millennia believing unity required uniformity," Nixus admitted. "Your species proves otherwise." Outside the negotiation chamber, humanity continued to evolve. Artists discovered they could project their visions into reality. Scientists found they could share complex concepts directly mind to mind while maintaining their distinct perspectives. Every culture added its own colors to humanity's expanding consciousness. "We offer a new kind of alliance," Emma proposed. "Not based on control, but on mutual growth. Humanity can show you how diversity creates strength. Perhaps you can help us understand our new capabilities." The defense grid hummed with potential as billions of minds watched the negotiations through their newfound connection. But unlike the Luminaries' hive mind, each human remained distinctly themselves, choosing to share thoughts while maintaining their individual identity. "Your grandmother's pendant," Nixus gestured to Emma's necklace. "It was a key, wasn't it? Not just to blocking our control, but to unlocking human potential." Emma touched the silver charm. "She always said humanity was meant for more. That we just needed to remember our strength." The negotiations concluded with Earth recognized as a sovereign power in the galaxy. The Luminari would remain as advisors, learning from humanity's unique development while sharing their advanced technology. In the aftermath, Emma stood with Marcus on the Pentagon roof, watching the sunset reflect off crystalline ships now stationed peacefully in orbit. "They never understood what makes us human," Marcus said. "The chaos, the creativity, the stubborn individuality, it's not our weakness. It's the source of our power." Emma nodded, feeling the global consciousness pulse with billions of unique thoughts and dreams. "We fought off their invasion by becoming something more than they imagined possible. Not a single enforced harmony, but a symphony of individual voices choosing to work together." The defense grid sparkled with human potential unleashed, each mind a distinct note in an ever-evolving composition. Humanity had not just survived first contact, they had transcended it, proving that true strength comes not from enforced unity, but from celebrating their differences. As night fell over Earth, Emma felt the thoughts of billions of free minds reaching for the stars. The Luminari had come to enslave humanity through uniformity. Instead, they had helped humanity discover its true destiny, to show the galaxy that the most beautiful harmonies come from voices choosing to sing together while remaining uniquely, defiantly themselves. The age of human ascendance had begun. And it would be unlike anything the galaxy had seen before.